Wednesday evening to you. How the heck is everybody out there in internet land? It's good to see you, and it's good to be seen by you. I am Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, and you guys are, of course, my wonderful audience. Give yourselves a round of applause. Kyle will be along in a few minutes, and guess what we're going to do tonight? We're going to talk about how to do your hex crawls. This is a subject that we revisit a lot, but I see a bunch of questions about making a living and more livable campaign world pop up all the place on social media. So Kyle and I were brainstorming about this in that we hit our heads together and made a hollow thundering sound and said, we'll do a hex crawl show. Now, this is not hex crawl like, you know, we're going to run a game or anything like that. This is going to be moving around a map area and showing you guys what to do, how to fill it with stuff, how to populate your howling wilderness. Because, guys, just because a world is open, just because the map of Greyhawk, it's all empty hexes. Wow, there's only a few cities. Each kingdom has 100,000 people, 150,000, 200,000 people in it. They all live in the city of Greyhawk. No, of course not. It's incumbent on the dungeon master in those situations, whether you're using your favorite setting, like Greyhawk, as I was just saying. Greyhawk is your favorite setting, right? Right? Or, any of the other ones out there. It's incumbent on you to fill those hexes, but I'm here to tell you the good news. The gospel! According to Kyle Schuant, you don't have to do it all in one go, and you don't have to sit there going, how do I do? Let the dice tell a story that you weren't expecting. Now, we're going to bring Kyle on in just a minute and start this crazy thing. But I just wanted to let you guys know, this episode is brought to you by our friends at Hellebarde Games. Hellebarde makes the kind of adventures that they'd like to play, whether it's for Castles and Crusades 5th edition or the OSR. Old school is in play at the table with Hellebarde Games, a sponsor of the Great Underground Online Gaming Convention too, I should point out. So you can check them out on DriveThruRPG or at their website, hellebardegames.com, where right now they have a sale on all their print 5th edition modules. That's right. That's right, folks. They've got a swamp full of lizard men and mystery, a desert trail full of adventure. Use the discount code 5EOOP at checkout and receive 50% off. For the math impaired of you out there, that's buy one, get one. Okay? Beautiful modules, old school feel. You just got to do a little math to convert them to the system you like. Don't miss out on it. HellebardeGames.com. Now, speaking of the guac, things are going along swimmingly. I'm seeing some sign-ins, and there's a couple of announcements, but I don't have them confirmed yet. But stay tuned to this channel. What am I saying? Of course, you're stay tuned to this channel for further information. And the last little bit I got for you is, guys, we are at, drum roll please, 4,583 subscriptions, guys. 4,583 subscriptions. That's pretty neat. So I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to welcome one of my favorite people in the whole world, to be honest with you. He's my friend. He's my co-host. He is my Guardo Camino, my road guard, if you will. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to the one and to the best of science's knowledge, only Kyle Schuon. Kyle, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, boys and girls. How are you all doing?
Well, I was traveling in a fried out combi on a hippie trailhead full of zombies. But anyway, no, I'm doing good. I warmed up the crowd for you, so
so I see.
Yes, hopefully.
I just come and organize myself in my my rather chilly brick studio here.
Yeah. You're heading into the depths of winter, and we're starting to crawl up into the heights of spring down there.
Yeah,
so.
It's technically autumn here, but yeah, winter came on by our standards anyway. It would probably be like a warmer summer's day compared to your northern states, and then unfathomably cold by Florida standards. So
yeah, we don't. I'm a man who, like, if you've ever tuned in the show and you see me wearing like a green sweater or my heavy Alabama hoodie, it's because it's 71 outside. I'm a frail hothouse flower.
Someone says my audio is a little bit low. Let's see, automatically adjust mic volume. How's that? Let's see if that comes up all right.
See, I'm hearing you fine, but then, I've got these on. So that's it. I'll buy a set of AKG headphones for the entire audience. No, I won't. No, not. Let me see if I can adjust anything with Kyle setting on this site, because people were saying last night. I don't know if you caught any of Heidi and Eric being on last night, Kyle, but a couple of people in the audience were saying, "Yeah, I can't hear. It's like it's too low," but nobody else did. So maybe I'm not being nasty, but maybe try bumping up your volume on your end. I will go back and do the rarest of things, listen to some video from last night and tonight. And if the gain is low, I'll dig around in settings on the studio PC, but I don't want to risk changing, because you guys know the fun I've had with audio settings in the past. I don't want to risk something going all pear-shaped in the middle of a show and having a flashback to 18 months ago, as opposed to now when things are so much more professional.
Well, you've done it about 1,000 videos by now, so
it feels like it. I did.
Well, it wouldn't be far off when you include all your shorts and that.
Yeah. I mean, you include all of that. I just crossed 666 videos, and I posted the Iron Maiden Number of the Beast announcement on Twitter when I did it. But if you go and you include all the like 45-minute to 3-hour long, literally be sitting in front of a webcam or my cell phone and running my mouth videos when things started in 2020, in March of 2020, it probably is 1,000 videos, because I didn't start on YouTube till almost a year later, so that would track. So anyhow,
can you hear me, Bill?
Yeah, Kyle, I can hear you fine. I've always got my ears on for you, man.
Yeah, because for some reason it lists like 5 different cameras. 5 different microphones, even though I've only got actually 2 available.
Yeah, don't
like there's a laptop, and then there's this, and that's it. And so I don't know where it's getting all these other ones from. It's just making some shit up, but I've got Windows, so.
Okay. I made a little adjustment. We'll see if that works. But again, I'm not doing anything inside Voice Meter or my my switching tool here, OBS, because I don't want to accidentally bump Kyle's audio off or me or anything.
Yeah.
Kyle, we have this big hex map. This is where I would be pointing if we had a big hex map. We have this big map. But
well,
all the hex
okay. So the all right. So I don't know exactly what Bill said during the warm up, but the idea here is I have honestly never really done modules and that. I've never really run them, not or very rarely anyway. I just roll shit up, and I roll it up, and then I try to tack it together with a bit of imagination and plagiarism into something that looks vaguely like an interesting adventure. So yeah, I just roll things up. So this is where we come to the Hexcrawl part of it. So we've got good old page, what is it, 173 of the Dungeon Master's Guide, AD&D. But this would apply as well for many other similar kind of settings and any kind of, well, any edition of Dungeons and Dragons it would apply for. And you could do a similar thing if you're doing RuneQuest or whatever, fantasy role playing. Hell, you could probably do it for a traveler kind of thing if the players are stranded on a planet somewhere. And it's the same principle.
Did we just? I think we just lost Kyle. Hopefully he'll be back. I told him not to touch any settings. Connect, you asked about would that webcam that you so generously donated that I'm going to put into use, would that work? No, my DSLR and this microphone are better. It's something in StreamYard. Anyway, please continue, Kyle.
Okay, yeah, so now you asked what size hexes we're using. Okay, look at random wilderness terrain, Appendix B. If a wilderness expedition moves into an area where no detailed map has been prepared in advance, the random terrain determination system below can be utilized with relative ease for a 1 space equals 1 mile or larger scale. In using it, however, common sense must prevail. For example, if the expedition is in the North Country, the forest will be pine or possibly scrub, while in tropical regions it will be jungle. Similarly, if a pond is indicated in 2 successive spaces, the 2 should be treated as 1 larger body of water. Now, in this, as in so many other things, you've got to take from a few words and build up from it. Gygax is telling you, use your common sense, and if you roll up 2 random things, try to tack them together into something that makes sense and builds into a whole. Ponds build into a lake. Multiple ponds might build into a sea, and so on. All right, the Dungeon Master must also feel free to add to the random terrain as he sees fit in order to develop a reasonable configuration. In any event, the DM must draw in rivers, large lakes, seas, oceans, and islands, as these features cannot easily be generated by a random method. Well, he didn't have computer generation in those days, but we do now. But even the old analog method that we're going to use works pretty well. As the party enters each space, generate a random number from 1 to 20. Find the type of terrain the party is currently on by reading across the top of the page, then read down the column until you find a line where the random number generated falls. Okay, so we've got this chart here, this chart right in the middle of the page.
Mm-hmm.
And you also, with each chart, check each space for the possibility of inhabitation. Now, if we go on back to my little blog article about doing a hex crawl.
And that is linked in the description, guys. If you did not check that article out, please.
So that's the article. You can go back and look to it. And when we finish this cast, because I've got an old video link there down the bottom. When we finish this cast, I'll edit the article to put the new video up. Anyway, so yeah, I noticed in general the approach for generating a campaign world is top down. You know, you draw the world, you draw the continent, you draw the country, blah, 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 and you drill down. The issue is that you can drill down into these tiny little details, and then the players ignore that and wander off somewhere else. So you inevitably have to come up with something on the spot anyway. So you may as well say, to hell with it, and not do the top-down stuff at all, and just come up with everything on the spot, which is what we're doing here. Alrighty.
Now,
So,
as Cloud gets set up, I do want to put my 68 cents in. It used to be 2 cents, but have you guys seen what inflation is doing? But anyway, I agree with 100% with Kyle's methodology. My advice is, yes, do this stuff by the tables in the book. You can't beat them. But do it beforehand. Don't do it when you're sitting at the table.
Yeah. Sometimes you might not have a choice. What I find is that past the first, if the game group complete strangers to each other, that's different. But if they know each other, or at least, you know, past the first few weeks, they'll know each other. They're just going to sit there and talk bollocks and eating snacks. And you could be like desperately dicing away and taking notes and try to come up with something in 10 minutes while they're talking nonsense. Because they're going to sit there and talk nonsense anyway. You as DM don't have to participate in their talking nonsense. You can just use your time more productively and roll things up. And they go, oh, we go into the next hex. And you go, oh, okay. And then you go, hey, didn't you guys see Guardians of the Galaxy the other day? And they go, oh, yeah. And they start talking about that. And then you start rolling your dice.
So area parlance, that's called dumping chaff and jinking right.
Pretty much. Pretty much, yeah. All right. Okay, so we've got the different stages. Hex TML. Begin with a blank hex map. Now, you can use just pen and paper. Today, we are using Hex TML.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, Hex TML is an online facility. It doesn't generate worlds for you. Okay, you have to come up with it yourself. And so this is just their default one that they've got. I'm getting rid of all that. You come up with it yourself. You fill out the hexes one by one. I'm just getting rid of their stuff.
Now, for the attentive viewer, yes, you can take and say, pop open a JPEG of the World of Greyhawk map if you want to zoom down and do this, so you don't have to constantly have your World of Greyhawk on your lap or turn around and look at the map on the wall or whatever. You can paint in areas of the World of Greyhawk in here just as easily as you can paint in your own things and then populate it accordingly.
Absolutely. So you can use, you know, you can use, well, whatever you like. You can use just a MS Paint and do JPEGs of things. As I said, I prefer pen and paper and then a little notebook, page for each little hex, but you can do it as you please. We're just using the electronic version today so that you guys, we can share with you guys what's going on rather than trying to set up my camera on a piece of paper and you see my awful handwriting and all that. Okay, so we start with XML. And the nice thing about this one is that it has a little section, so you can fill in the terrain. Okay, so you fill in the terrain. So, for example, we've got we're going to do a starting village, so we want probably be grasslands. Okay, fill in the terrain. Now it goes to the hex. In the hex, we can put some text. There's the text, the name of the town, the starting town. We just call it starter for now, and you see that the name comes up. Now, there's two sections here. There's players' notes and secret notes. The nice thing about this particular website is that if you've got a premium account anyway, which this costs some nominal amount, like $8 a year or something, if you've got a premium account, you can share this map with your players, and the players can put their own notes in of what's in the town or whatever. And then there's secret notes, and you can say, well, it's not here be dragons. No, it's not here be dragons. It's here be people who steal from the players, right? And then the players won't see those notes, though they'll probably assume that that's what's happening anyway. You can also do submaps there, but we're not going to do that today, but you can. So if you had like a 30-mile hex, you could have your 5 6-mile hexes underneath that, and then your 6 1-mile hexes and so on. You could drill on down like that if you're really keen. Now, 1-mile hex doesn't sound like much, but this is, you're thinking of a sort of a wilderness marches kind of thing. I looked it up, and the density of wolves in North America before Europeans came and settled, there were about 2 million wolves, it's estimated. Now there's 50,000 or something. And similarly, interesting, in Africa, I looked up lions. They reckon there were about 2 million lions before Europeans settled. And then now they're down to about 20 or 50,000. So when people have firearms, they bring down the number of predatory animals pretty damn quickly. If they just have bows and arrows and spears and swords and that, then there'll be millions of the guys.
You learn to live with it at that point.
Yeah. Well, so you end up with essentially a predatory animal or pack of animals for each square mile or so. So the 1-mile spaces or 1-mile hexes that we're talking about here in this wilderness generation method, there's probably going to be some sort of predatory animal in each hex. Now, in the real world, that predatory animal is things like lions and jaguars and wolves and crocodiles and so on. In the world of D&D, though, that's also going to be things like ogres and orcs and, I don't know, ochre jellies or whatever. So there's all kinds of predatory animals. They're magical predatory animals. They're monsters. So what you can then do is roll up for each hex. And so this is why. Here we go. Right, so the first step is to make a starting village. Right, and I suggest start small. Less than 300 people means the place is small enough to need adventurers. Because if it's a city of 10,000, they've probably got their city guard they can send out to go and clear out that dungeon of 100 orcs. But if they've got 300 people, they need that plucky band of adventurers. They're small enough to need adventurers. But also the things that the party needs won't all be available. They have to adventure to find them. Like, but can't I buy some plate mail here? No, I'm afraid not, sir. We just make leather armor here. You know, there's not really much call for plate armor in a village of 300 people. If there is any plate armor, it's that village knight, the knight who runs the village, and it was passed down from father to son. So, and you can't have it unless you kill him, but then you're probably evil adventurers. Anyway, so you can go to the Dungeon Masters for the village. You can go to the Dungeon Masters guide, pages 100 to 102, and detail the village's significant NPCs. Where are we? Pages 100 to 102, right? So that's non-player characters, personae of non-player characters, and there you roll up their class and their alignment and their appearance and sanity, their general tendencies of being optimist, sober, practical joker, etc. Their personality, if they're a collector, what do they collect? and so on, right? So there's all those different aspects of them. So you generate the significant NPCs. You don't necessarily worry about the cobbler, or whatever, but if there's a knight in charge of the town, then you might want to have a look at him. Okay, so you do your significant village. You also look at the demographics of that. Okay, because people do want to know how many. Is there a blacksmith in town? Is there a cleric in town, or somebody who can heal people and that? And we go to the wonderful website Donjon, DONJON, that has random generators of everything, random names, treasure maps, things for Microlight, Pathfinder, 5th edition, D&D, sci-fi stuff, Alien RPG. It's got all sorts of stuff. Anyway, so years ago, S. John Ross wrote an article called Medieval Demographics Made Easy, where he had gone through various history books to say, okay, how many locksmiths are in a town on average? How many cobblers and so on? So he just went through and did all that so that we wouldn't have to. And it comes up with odds of each kind of person. So what you can do is you go to this website that I've linked to in my article, and you come up with a random town. And this one I've just put, so say we've got 300, you can adjust the number of people. I've got 300 people. In this town, there's one baker, one bookbinder. Perhaps he can make scroll paper for you. Not the scrolls, but the scroll paper. One butcher. He'll be good if you want to butcher the carcass of that monster and sell the bits off. A carpenter, a chandler, fishmonger, furrier, also good for butchering carcasses, I guess. Hay merchant, illuminator, definitely will help with the scrolls. Jeweler, you can value those jewels for you and perhaps sell them, give you a letter of credit. Maidservant, mercer, an old clothes merchant. That was a big thing in the Middle Ages. Saddler, one scabbard maker. Interesting fact, commonly the scabbard was more expensive than the sword. Shoemaker, and there's a tailor, one tavern, one water carrier, and one wine cellar. Interestingly, no blacksmiths. We're commonly thinking of blacksmith as the most common kind of thing, and probably because that's one of the most useful to adventurers. But no, the most common profession apart from farmer was cobbler, making shoes. And if you were outside working all day, you could kind of understand why they'd get worn out. So anyway, the village was just called Starter. Because I changed something in it, the randomness changed. Doesn't matter. So what I'll do is I'm just going to take a little capture of that and stick that in there in the description. The village also has one noble house. The peace is kept by one guardsman, and there's one advocate to assist with legal matters. For those more concerned about their soul, there are 4 clergymen and no priests. Okay, so I've just copy and pasted that. You can put images into the player notes as well. The players will know this is going to be quite public kind of knowledge. And then the secret notes is where you're going to put out things like the noble is secretly a sadist or whatever. The player notes also pop up as part of the image as well, for better or worse. There's a setting somewhere where you can hide it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter for the moment. All right. So we have done the starting village. So we'll assume that we've gone through and done all the nobles and so on. Now we go to the Dungeon Master's Guide, page 173, the terrain. This is where we start getting other places. Okay, and that's the 1 mile, where they're talking about the 1 mile hex thing. Okay. This bit of terrain we got is just grasslands. Okay, so first we're going to roll up what the terrain will be. Don't need the village anymore. What the terrain will be to the north. So we've got
what kind of dice we use?
D20.
AD20.
Plain, scrub, forest, rough, desert, hills, mountains, or marsh. It's plain, so it's grassy plain. So as we move north, on a 1 to 11 on a D20, it would be more plain. On a 12, it would be scrub. 13 would be forest, and so on.
Although, remember, when randomly generating terrain, first roll a D20, and on a roll of 1, it indicates possible castle or settlement, right?
No. What you do is you roll separately for inhabitation. So you check each space for the possibility of inhabitation. You roll a D100, and basically on a 1 to 14, you get some sort of inhabitation from a single.
What am I thinking of the castles then? Because I know there was something possible castle.
Yeah, there is. That's under inhabitation. There's possible castles.
All right.
There's a 3% chance of a castle, and then a 2% chance of some ruins, but 84% of the time, or 83, it'll be uninhabited.
Okay, so I have a 19 on my initial terrain roll.
Okay, so there's a pond.
All right. Is there someone here who repairs that? Perhaps a pondsmith?
Oh, no. All right. Now, so again, we assume there's endless numbers of ants, dogs, deer, and so on in any hex. What we're interested in things which might kill, capture, or eat you. The predators, like the player characters themselves. 1 kind per hex. Now, normally DMs roll for the party to encounter wandering monsters. But no, this is not a roll to see whether monsters exist in the area, but whether the party encounters them. Me personally, I haven't seen a fireman all week, but the fire station is about 500 yards from my home. I'm pretty sure they did all close up and go home. Right? They're there. They exist in my hex, but I haven't encountered them. But if a party thoroughly explores a hex, they will find those monsters and sign of them. You can't have a dragon flying around without cattle and sheep disappearing, or 120 goblins marching around without leaving muddy tracks or manure by the side of the road.
What's the traffic type of the fire department, Kyle?
I don't know. I haven't tried to loot it yet.
We might have to roll up on some bitches.
Hook in there with a baseball bat or something. No. Okay. So this time you'll be rolling for the appropriate monster. Okay. Now, the appropriate monsters are in. Okay. We skip over. This is all the random dungeon table. Okay. And then there's underwater encounters. These are all encounters. Okay, psionic encounters. All right. Appendix C has got random monster encounters. And there's subarctic conditions and uninhabited wilderness areas. So this is page 184. That's what we want. Okay. This is also a D100.
And
there's no pond one, but we just call it marsh because the pond isn't going to be exactly hex shaped. It's going to, be roundish, and then so there'll be muddy bits by the side of it. So D100.
Unless, Kyle, I'm just throwing this out there, we wanted to use the water encounter table, but we can go with since
you
we're
do that. You could do that, but we'll just keep it simple today.
Okay, yeah. For those of you at home, it would be the shallow freshwater encounters for this, when you can encounter fun stuff like giant beaver, that sort of thing. Anyway, so we are looking at a 35.
Okay, that's a giant lizard. Okay, so
it could potentially, for those of you who are keen to get a little bit of scratch, that could potentially be a fire lizard.
Okay,
'Cause
so now
roll
we go
subtitle,
to
don't we?
the monster manual, and we find lizard, giant. That's mammoth. All right. Now, it doesn't say what kind of, giant lizard. Here we go. Number appearing, 2 to 12. So we want 2d6.
10.
10.
That's why nobody goes swimming in that pond.
Yep. All right, so there's 10 giant lizards.
Rolled up Central Florida.
All right, they're AC 5. AC 5. Move 15. That's faster than the PCs can run. They have hit dice 3 plus 1. That's 3 plus 1. Percentage in lair nil, treasure type nil. They've got 1 attack. One attack of 1d8. They've got some sort of special attack. They've got no special defenses, no magic resistance. They're non-intelligent. They're in neutral alignment. They're large, 15 foot long, and no psionic ability. Giant lizards. The giant lizard is remarkable only for its size. They dwell in marshes and swamps by preference. Because of their large maws, they are able to engulf prey. Any 2-hit score of 20 indicates the creature has snapped both jaws onto its opponent, thus causing double damage. Right?
Runch.
Right. That's why nobody goes fishing up there. Basically, it's got crocs. It's got gators.
You've either invented Florida or Queensland.
Yeah. So there's no lair applicable. There's no treasure type. So we can now move on to the next hex. Okay, so the hex, which is northeast. So again, we're moving from plains to into some unknown bit of territory. So what do we come up to? Where are we? Forgotten what page it is. 173. It's quicker with my paper book because that's it's stuck open at those pages. You know, it just falls open like it falls open at the 2-hit tables. $173. Okay, so roll a d20 again.
19.
19. It's another pond. It's a bit wet around here.
All right.
What we might do is we'll roll the terrain all around, and then we'll roll up the things that are in it.
Okay. Next hex, Kyle, is 1.
1. So that's more plains. And the next hex.
$19.
A pond. Why are you rolling up this marshy area?
I know. One way in and one way out of this neighborhood.
Yep. Okay, and again.
8.
8 is more plain. And again.
9, which is more plain.
Yep. All right, so that's the 6 hexes immediately around. And then if there were mountains and stuff like that, you'd be able to see them from more than a mile away. So we're going to roll for the 12 hexes around as well, but we'll only do monster detailing of the 6 hexes immediately around. Well, we'll see how we go for time, but yeah, that's the plan. So moving from the northern pond further north, what do we come across?
12.
12. A marsh. An official marsh. Which symbol is that? Let's see. Probably is deep green. No, already got one of those. So that's already the plane. So I remember when I was like about 16 drawing up dungeon maps, and I very carefully wilderness maps, and I very carefully selected this sort of murky, swampy, grotty, greeny brown pencil to be my marshy areas.
There you go.
Careful selection. Oh, yeah, it's highlighted as marsh actually. So, yeah, and that's highlighted as grassland. When you hover over them, it comes up what they are. So I'm just going to change that. Okay, so yeah, so the dark green one is marsh, and then the light green is actually the plains. All right, and the ones either adjacent that. So from grassland, from marsh to
11. That is plain.
plain, and again
3, also plain.
Okay. Now for the 2 to the west.
We have a 2 and a 15.
So that's a plain and a desert. Okay.
Now, it's not as weird as it sounds, folks, because if you look this up, there is a desert in the middle of the forests of Poland. I am not kidding you. It's like 2 or 3 kilometers long and a couple of kilometers wide. I am serious as a heart attack. It's a desert out there. You look up Polish desert or desert in Poland. You will find it. And I think we just found it in the fantasy map. Ready for the next couple?
Yeah, just a sec. I'm just...
Sure.
That thing being there on the display is bothering me. So I'm just going to put that in the secret notes. There we go. All right, so we're back to... All right, the southwestern hexes. Going from plains into...
Doing a pair of these at a time. We got a 9 and a 19.
Okay, plain and more pond. Okay, so and then the southwestern one's going from a pond to... Sorry, the southeastern one's going from a pond to...
A 7 and an 8.
Or marsh too. So 7 is rough terrain and an 8 is hills. Oh, something that isn't marshy for a change. It's rough terrain, hills. Hills. It doesn't list rough terrain. Let's just call them both hills.
Works for me.
Okay. So the and now there's the eastern 3 hexes. These are the last 3 hexes. All right. So I mean, and it's the DM's choice here. You can say, "Oh, I'm coming from hills or I'm coming from grassland. Let's say we're coming from hills, because you're more likely to get more of the similar terrain.
Okay, I got a 5, a 9, and a 13.
Okay, coming from the 5, you go hills into forest. And there's a little note there. 1 in 10 forests also include hills. So roll a d10.
A 6.
Okay, so it's just a forest. Okay, now we're northerly, so it's probably going to be. Are we northerly? I don't know. Anyway, so the first one was forest. What was your second roll? Sorry.
See, the second was a 5.
5. Okay, so from grassland into plains into that, so there's more plains. And then last one was
A 13.
13. More forest. And roll a d10 again to see if it's hilly forest.
It is not.
Okay. All right. So this is the terrain that we've got all around. All we know about the monsters so far is that there's lizard men in the northern hex. We're going to look at the other hexes, though. The hex is immediately adjacent the town. So from page, 184. Okay, uninhabited wilderness areas. All right, so the next one we're looking at is going to be a grassland hex. So plains, so D100.
All right.
Monsters in this hex.
We have 67.
67. Oh, men.
Men.
All right. And there's a men subtable somewhere. Men
right.
subtable. Okay, D100.
78.
Nomads. Okay.
Now, we're not trying to be comedians, but there is a percent in layer for nomads.
There is.
It's small. And even that might not be a layer. That just could literally be like a Roman army fort, like just something they threw up in the space of a couple of days and plan on not being in there for more than a se'nnight.
Yes. Now, okay, normally in the monster manual, percentage in layer is most DMs take it as, the chance that when you encounter them as a wandering monster, you find them in their lair, or the chance that they're sitting in their lair when you walk through the hex, when you're just on your way through, and they're just sitting in their lair. With this hex on up method, as outlined in the article, with wandering monsters, as the party travels across the wilderness, this is normally the chance that they'll stumble across their lair. With our method, this is taken as the chance that the monsters have a lair in the hex. They may simply be traveling through, scouting, raiding, looking for food, and so on. So, let's see, where are the nomads? There's merchant, pilgrim, dervish, caveman, berserker, brigands. Am I missing something? Does it not list nomads?
Yeah, they're a subtype of dervish. If you look down, scroll down to dervishes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Number appearing 30 to 300. So roll a d10 and we'll roll 3 d10, say, and we'll triple it.
All right.
Times by 10, something like that.
All right, so that is a 6, a 1, and a 9.
6, 1, 9. So that's 16. So 160. 160 nomads. Okay, now All right, dervishes are highly religious nomads. Okay, these ones are. Nomads are bands of desert or steppes plain dwellers who roam freely about herding and hunting. They surprise on a 1 to 4 due to their ability to use terrain to conceal themselves. Nomads will have higher level fighters in addition to their indicated numbers, as do dervishes. They have normal possibilities for psionic abilities. The leader of a band of nomads will be a fighter of 8th, 9th, or 10th level. 8th level if under 150 nomads are in the group, 9th if 150 to 200. Okay, so there's a 9th level leader. Level leader.
And I just want to say, since we're speaking the virtues of using the wheel to help us create our D&D games, I do want to point out that you can find as abandonware the Dungeon Master's Assistant Volume 1 and Volume 2. Volume 1 is particularly helpful because you can literally, with a push of a button, generate a 180 strong band of nomads like that. It is so helpful. I heartily recommend you get a copy.
Excellent. The leader will have a sub-commander of 6th, 7th, or 8th level and 12 guards of 2nd level. So assume that the sub-commander is in the middle too. 7th level sub-commander. And then 2nd level guardsman times 12. Was it 12? Yep. All these characters are in addition to the number of nomads indicated by the dice. For every 50 nomads encountered, there is a 15% chance that there will be a cleric of 4th to 7th level with the group. Okay, so there's 3 lots of 50, so 15% chance. So roll D100 3 times and tell me if you get under 15.
No.
No. Okay, so there's no cleric. There is a like chance for a 5th to 8th level magic user. So do the same thing again. D100 3 times. Tell me if you get under 15.
Negative.
Okay, regardless of the results of the above, there will always be 2 clerics of 3rd level and a 4th level magic user with a band of nomads. Okay, so clerics, 3rd level and 4th level magic user. Okay, and obviously you could detail their abilities and their spells and everything separately. If nomads are encountered in their lair, it is 90% likely to be an encampment of sorts, or yurts or carts at an oasis or stream. There will be females there equal in number to 200% of the males, and children equal to 100% of their number. There will be from 10 to 100 slaves. That's if there's an encampment. Okay. Percentage in lair is 5%. I got in brackets 15%.
The brackets is the nomad.
The nomad. Okay, so 15%. So again, D100 tells us if you get 15.
Oh, so close. So 20. So they ain't in.
Okay. All right, so we can just put no lair. They don't have a lair. All right, so because they don't have a lair, their females and children and horses and everything or herd animals are off somewhere else. And then 10% of the time, the lair will be a small walled city, blah, blah, blah. All right, the mounting armor and arms of a force of nomads depends on where they're encountered. Desert nomads, steppe plains nomads. So you see they're fairly substantial. We've got 20% of them have got medium warhorse, chainmail and shield, lance, sword. 10% have got composite bow and sword, and so on. All right, so just copy that down. All right, so there's a band of nomads right next to your starting village. Starting village has only got 300 people, but there's 160 nomads next door to it. Fortunately,
Be good or bad.
They're lawful good. So specifically says alignments are lawful good brackets. Sorry, neutral.
Yes. But they can be they can be approached.
Yeah.
Unlike if they were, say, brigands, when it would just be
Yeah. All right. So that's quite a hex. All right. So now we're going to the southeastern hex, and looking at the random monsters. So this is another plains hex. So what have we got here?
maybe more men. I got a 70.
70. Yes, more men. It's busy around here.
It's a popular fishing spot. 71.
71. More nomads.
I just want to get this out of the way right now. They are holy cats. They're in lair, Kyle. I know you didn't call, but I rolled an 11, and by God, we're putting them in their lair. So
how many are there?
That band over yonder could actually be from over here.
Could be, or they could be enemies.
Could be. So we're looking at a total of 210. That was a mighty roll. A 3, an 8, and a 1.
Yep. So I mean, they could be. It could be like Genghis Khan coming to meet his enemies or something, and this poor village is going to get caught in between.
I'm sorry, no, a 10, a 3, and an 8. Ignore me, but still, it was 210.
Okay, so there's a 9th level fighter leader. Because it's between 150 and 250. A leader commander. And so he has a 7th level sub commander. And every 50 encounters a 15% chance. So 15%, 4 rolls.
All right. Nope. Yes. I rolled a 9 that time. So we got one special there on the second roll.
Okay, so there's a cleric of 4th to 7th level. So what's that? 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 3 plus 1d4 level.
6th.
6. And is there a magic user with them? And chances. 4, 15.
How many chances?
4 chances of the 15%.
Yes, there is a magic user with them, at least one.
Yep.
Just one.
Okay, and he'll be 5th to 8th level. So what level is it?
5th to 8th, that's a D4 plus 4. He is 5th level. Shilba and Ningabol, the cleric and the magic user.
Mm-hmm. And there will always be 2 clerics of 3rd level and a 4th level magic user. So. Alrighty, so that's substantial magically. Now, where are we? If they're encountered in the lair, it's 90% likely to be an encampment of tents. Okay, so roll a 1d10 to see if it's tents or a small city.
It is tents.
Tents, okay.
I'm a teepee. I'm a wigwam. I'm a teepee. I'm a wigwam. Kyle, I'm sorry. I can't go on. I'm too tense.
All right. So females, 200% of the males equal to 100%, and in children equal to 100% of the number. So females, 420, So there's more nomads here than there are people in the village. And 210 children, because there's like 210 plus 420 plus 800. There's 840 people in this encampment.
Gary said the orcs are fecund.
Yep. And there's 10 to 100 slaves. So roll 1d10 and we'll multiply it by 10.
3, so there are 30.
And there are 100 to 400 horses.
I'm sorry, how many?
1 to 400 horses.
Oh, 1 to 400.
So 1d4 plus times 100.
200 horses.
And double that number of herd animals. So
400 cattle,
yeah.
sheep, what have you.
Yep. All right. It's not a small world city, so we don't have to worry about the footmen and so on. And again, steppe nomads. Their equipment. Now, okay, what we didn't do before was individual treasure type. Now, with the previous group, they weren't in their lair; they were individuals, so they just had treasure type L. Okay.
Yeah, and folks, if you think we're sitting here and rolling 2 to 12 silver 180 times, you're wrong.
Yeah, we're not. And it's individuals. So you would just, as DM, you would, if they encounter a small patrol of nomads and fight and kill them, or they trade with them or whatever, you would deal with that on an individual basis. You wouldn't be rolling 200 or whatever. But the treasure in the lair is a different matter. Okay, so treasure type Z in lair, that doesn't apply to that previous group, but it does apply to this group.
Treasure type Z is a powerful treasure.
Okay, so there we go to our mithril and mages 1E treasure generator, also linked in the article. The first edition treasure generator, noting the treasures that they have. Generate. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Okay, they have 1,000 silver, 19 pieces of jewelry, total value 82,700. Anything magical in there? Nah, it's just all jewelry and stuff.
With all I'm kind of picturing like the Mongol chief, and he's got his coterie of wives, and they're just dripping with all this crude gold jewelry and silver armlets and stuff like that. You know,
yeah. The favored ones with their 1,800 GP medallion, 2,000 GP medallion, 1,800 GP locket, and so on.
Shows his disfavor by calling the wife over and snatching it off her neck and putting it on the next one. You know?
Well, either that, or he's just wearing it all himself, like Mr. T.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, that's quite a remarkable hex.
It is.
All right. The next one. The next one, it's a pond, so we just call it Marsh Hex.
Okay.
D100.
Can I make a request here, Kyle? And if you don't want to do it, we don't have to. Can we do this as a water hex?
Sure. Which one is it? Which page is that?
This would be shallow fresh because we're inland, and the water hex. I think if you just search your PDF for shallow fresh water, you'll find it. I'll try and crack it open here. See if we'll race to see who gets there. Okay, there we go. Underwater. No, not underwater encounters.
Shallow water encounters. So this is page 179.
All right, let me get over there.
There's even a chance of a dinosaur.
which would just be kicking rad if I do say so myself. Lizard men, Brontosaurus. All right, so freshwater encounters.
Yeah.
You said
I'm looking at underwater encounters in freshwater, page 179.
All right.
Shallow water encounters to 50 feet, because that's what a pond will be. It won't be more than 50 feet deep.
Okay, I got a 52. I think that's very appropriate given the setting.
Hippopotamus. But I can't spell hippopotamus. I genuinely can't. Hippopotamus. Tertiary educated, by the way. That's misspelled, but it doesn't matter. It's secret notes. Players will never see my bad spelling. All right, let's go find a hippopotamus. Intellect devour. No, not that. Hippopotamus. 2 to 12.
By the way, I should point out, for those who are curious, the hippopotamus, their mandibles are made only for eating vegetables. However, they eat crocodiles and zebra, anything that gets in the water with them that they don't like. They don't chew it and swallow it and use it for food. They just do it out of spite. And I have to appreciate that they're highly dangerous man-eaters, not out of wanting you for food, just out of wanting you dead. So that is 7 hippopotami. They do not have a percentage in lair or a treasure, unless you like hippopotamus meat.
All right. So they have armor class 6. They have move 9 or 12, hit dice 8. They have 1 attack, 2 to 12 or 3 to 18. They have a special attack, no special defenses, normal and magic resistance, animal intelligence, their neutral alignment, and they're large. As their name implies, hippopotami are found in rivers and lakes of tropical regions. They are herbivores, but they aggressively defend their own territory. The hippo bites with exceedingly strong jaws, and a bull will do 3 to 18 hit points of damage per attack. There will be 1 to 3 bulls in a herd, 1 for every 4 animals.
There are 2. So that actually tracks 1 to 3 in a herd, and we have a total of 2, and there are 9 in the herd. So we have the exact right number of bulls on a single die roll. There are 2 hippopotamus bulls.
Yeah, so 2 bulls and 7 females. There we go. If a boat or canoe passes over submerged hippopotami, there is a 50% chance that a bull would emerge under it and tip the craft over. That's it. Yeah, so they just attack you and they have no trigger. So yeah, that's the special attack. They could tip your boat over.
Well, I mean, with 8 hit dice apiece, that's 9. That's 72 hit dice. So you average that's a 240. Yeah, that's 240 hit points of hippopotamus. Bring lots of hirelings.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. Next hex. Good old plains.
All right. No more weird hippopotamuses. 66, which I think is more men.
Men, yeah. I thought this place was uninhabited. All right.
Wrong.
Men subtable.
35.
Okay. Merchants.
I don't even know if there's a percent in layer opportunity for that. If there is, it's tiny. I guess if it's percent in layer, this is where the hex that the shopping mall is in.
Yeah, this is a surprisingly crowded area for the wilderness.
Yeah.
Gathering together. Merchant. No, they've got 0% chance in lair. 50 to 300 merchants. So it's obviously a merchant caravan, a silk caravan kind of thing, rather than just like a tinker traveling around by himself.
So we have a 5d6 times 10.
Yes.
Of course, you could do a single d6 and multiply that. Well, anyway. So we have 6, 11, 14. So 140 merchants.
Okay, now it notes only 10% of any band of merchants will actually be tradesmen. 10% will be drovers. The balance of the party, 80%, will be mercenary guards. So 10% tradesmen, 10% drovers, and the rest guards.
So really,
14 traders, 14 drovers, and then Mascot, what's that, 112 guards.
Yeah.
The guards will be led by a fighter of 6 to 11th level. So what's that, 1d5 plus 5 plus 1d5 or something.
6 to 11th would be a...
Yeah, 5 plus 1d5.
I mean, it works, but come on, Gary. He's pretty badass. He's a 10th level fighter.
Okay. And they have a lieutenant of 1 level lower.
So 9th level.
So it's just these guardsmen, like they could be founding their own stronghold, basically.
Wow.
Right. 12 guards of 2nd level. For every 50 persons in the merchant caravan, there is a 10% chance for a magic user of 6 to 8th level. So what have we got? 140. So that's 2 chances, 10% chance.
No, there is not.
Okay, there's a 5% chance per 50, so 2 chances for a cleric of 5th to 7th level.
I'm sorry. What was the chance?
5% chance.
Oh yeah, I rolled an 8, so no cleric either.
And a 15% chance per 50 that will be a thief of 8th to 10th level with wonderful lesser thieves.
No thieves.
Okay. All the leaders, guards, and special characters will be in addition to the numbers indicated by the dice. The mercenaries guarding a caravan will be mounted, armed, and armored as follows. All right. Now, here's the part the players will be interested in. A caravan of merchants will have various sorts of treasure. Merchants will individually have J, K, L, M, and N, and Q treasures with them. The mercenaries will individually have type K, leaders type M. Somewhere in the caravan will be hidden in the pay chest containing 100% certain 2,000 to 4,000 gold pieces, 100 to 400 platinum pieces, and 4 to 16 base 100 gold piece gems. The merchandise will be worth from 10 to 60,000 gold pieces, being carried on the pack animals and or wagons. It requires 10 pack piece or 1 wagon for each 5,000 gold pieces worth of goods. The merchants will always be mounted on very swift, light horses. So yeah, so it doesn't have just regular treasure type that you roll up for.
That is correct. By the way, if you guys are kind of trying to do this at home, just for an example there, they have 11, was that base 100 gems or base 500 gems?
100, yeah.
So they have 11 base 100 gems, and now I've never seen this happen, obviously, but a gem has a potential to explode up to 4 million gold pieces in value. So, the potential, but you're talking one, you know, just
Yeah.
literally.
Now, as DM, I would roll all this up because it might also determine how the merchants behave. Like if they've got like a 4 million gold, if they've got the Arkenstone with them,
Yeah.
they might fight a bit differently. You know, whereas if they've just got 10,000 gold or something, they'll fight, but not necessarily to the death. They might be more willing to parley and that. So I would roll that up beforehand. Whereas sometimes, like if you've just got a band of dozen orcs or something, you can roll up their treasure afterwards a lot of the time. But I usually like to roll it up beforehand because if they've got some magical stuff, they might actually use that in the ensuing combat.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to do that today because it will take us a long time to roll, because merchants will individually have J, K, L, M. I'm not going to roll up 14 different treasures for with all those, with their 6 different treasure types and stuff. I'm not going to do that right now. As DM, you'll find your own shortcuts. That's that one. So, yeah, okay. So we've got one more hex to go. Oh, dear.
Kyle, guess what?
Men again?
Do you want to scratch it, or do you want to say that maybe the dice weren't right?
No, the dice are always right.
93.
All right. Let me find it. 93.
It's kind of the crossroads of the world here, guys.
Apparently, yeah. Yeah. So where were we? The original tables are there. Now the men subtable. What did you say? 93. Pilgrims.
Pilgrims.
Pilgrim. All right.
Which, by the way, I want to point out that's pilgrims, not pogroms.
Number appearing 10 to 100.
Oh, that's easy enough. Well, no, it's 10 to, so it's D10 times 10 because I rolled an O2. 2 pilgrims. 8 pilgrims.
Well, yeah, it's 10 to 100, so it would be 80.
Oh, 80, right. Well, so that would have been 20. We could have gone with that. We could say 20.
Okay. Pilgrims. They get 1 to 6 hit points. All right. Pilgrims are simply groups of individuals on their way to visit some place which is holy or unholy to them. They are thus found nearly everywhere. A group of pilgrims will always have the following additional characters. Okay, 1 to 6 second level clerics.
2 level clerics.
Yep. So
I've often wondered, maybe you can give us some insight. Kyle, do you think that's supposed to be in addition to their numbers or part of their numbers?
Yeah. Well, all the other men types are in addition to the numbers. So, because it does say the following additional characters.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
1 to 4 4th level clerics.
1 4th level cleric.
And 1 to 2 6th level clerics.
1 of them.
And 1 8th level cleric with a 3rd and 5th level assistant. Oh, okay.
So the tiniest group of men in here also happens to be the most powerful from a magic standpoint.
Well, until you roll up the treasures of the others, because someone else might have a machine of Lum the Mad or something.
Oh, God.
Well, you don't know until you roll up their treasures.
This is our magic user, Toby, and this is Toby's Sphere of Annihilation. Spot.
There's a 25% chance that the fifth or sixth level monk will be with the party.
They have a 5th or 6th level monk, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is a 6th level monk.
Alrighty. For every 10 pilgrims, there is a 10% chance there'll be 1 to 10 fighters of 1st to 8th level. Okay, so there's a 20% chance.
No.
There is a like chance that there'll be 1 to 6 thieves.
No.
There is a 5% chance per 10 pilgrims that is a magic user of 6th to 9th level is with the group.
Yes, there is a magic user.
Okay, magic user of 6th to 9th level.
6 to 9th.
So something plus D4, 5 plus D4.
So 2, so 6th.
And then if the pilgrims are lawful good, fighters will be paladins. Doesn't apply. If the party is chaotic good, the fighters will be rangers. There's no fighter. If the party is neutral, the clerics will be druids. If the pilgrims are lawful evil, all of the pilgrims will fight as berserkers, although they will be armed only with daggers. If the party is chaotic evil, the thieves will be assassins of the level indicated. Okay. A group of pilgrims is likely to be aligned as follows. D100.
31.
31. So they're lawful good. Lawful good pilgrims.
Couple of bandits watching them cross the plain. How has such a puny group of people survived?
Pilgrims are 75% likely to be afoot, 25% probability of being mounted. All will be either one or the other.
They're on foot.
Okay. Pilgrims and monks will carry type J treasure. Fighters will carry types L and M, or clerics will have blah, blah, blah. There is a 5% chance that some high-level member of the band of pilgrims is carrying a religious artifact. Any such artifact will be carefully hidden and well guarded by traps and or magic devices. 5% chance?
All right. Oh, Kyle.
Yes.
We have to roll up our first ever AD&D artifact. This is a great moment in show history. The people who missed the show.
Is it?
The show
when
are
it
going to
says an artifact, is it actually an artifact, or is it,
Hey,
is it when they say like a relic? Is it like, just like some saint's finger slipper or something?
Magic traps, dude. He would. I would think if he meant relic, he would have said relic.
Fair enough. Okay. Where's our artifacts? Artifacts and relics table. All right. Where's the random relics table? Is there a random relics table?
Yeah, random treasure determination. And remember, it said religious, so it can't be like the friggin'. Well, there's no reason it couldn't be the friggin' wand of Orcus. Maybe they're wandering because they're trying to keep the thing out of humanity's hands.
Yes, or they're doing a pilgrimage to Mount Doom.
Yeah.
Maybe you found the Frodo's band. The Fellowship.
Yeah, plus 12. So here's the thing. There is a random table, I think. Yeah, so here we go, Kyle. Here we go.
Yeah, which chart is it? Now, let me look.
It is 124. It is page 124 of the Dungeon Master's Guide. Yeah, the like 8 or 10 people who are here, but now you've left. Yeah, y'all are missing some great stuff.
124. Oh, yep. Here we go. The special.
Yes. Here we go. So odds are, if you guys know how a bell curve works, this is going to be an orb of dragonkind or an orb of might, which given they have a monk actually kind of makes sense. But let's see. No, I was way off. 97. Oh, I love it. That's very special.
The teeth of Dulver Nar.
The teeth of Dulver Nar. Yes. That is, for those of you who don't know, who may be new. And by the way, if you're just stopping by, if you're one out in the audience and you haven't clicked the subscribe button and the bell icon for notifications already, please do that because you get great content on this live stream, folks. Like, for example, if you're not subscribed and you haven't clicked the bell icon, you may sleep on Errol Otis being here next week, and you don't want to do that. But back to the teeth of the Dulver Nar. If you guys don't know me, I worked for Gary for a little bit before his passing, and one of the projects that I worked on, which did not get published, unfortunately, was a module called Teeth of the Barkish Nor, which was the original name for the Teeth of the Dulver Nar. And I got to see all the notes that Gary wrote back in the 70s for finding this treasure, for seeking it out. So this is kind of a very surprisingly special occasion for me that this just popped up.
Bill. It's destiny.
It's destiny. Or it's dentistry.
So, the teeth of Dulver Nar. If any cleric was more powerful than the renowned Dulver Nar, histories do not tell us. The gods themselves gave special powers to him, and these are passed on to others by means of the great relics of Dulver Nar, his teeth. Each of the teeth has some power, and if one character manages to gain a full quarter, half, or all of them, other grand benefits accrue. In order to gain the power of one of these teeth, however, the character must place it into his or her mouth, where it will graft itself in the place of a like missing tooth. The teeth can never be removed once so in place, short of the demise of the possessor. Their powers and effects are, and you roll up the powers and the effects.
Yes.
Which are cumulative. Now, the question is, how many of the teeth do they have?
Now, when I wrote Teeth of the Barkish Nor with Gary, these were scattered all over the demi-plane in different adventuring locales. However, it is not said. It just says that they are found in a set. But of course, you as a dungeon master, if you want to say, look, 20 pilgrims do not have 32 individual tiny magic items that, when shoved into someone's mouth, renders them powerful unto a god. So you might just say,
why not?
Why
not? That's like saying, like, one deformed hobbit down in the bowels of an orcish dungeon does not have the ring of power. Why not?
You make an absolutely valid point. You make an absolutely valid point. So, yeah, basically what you would do is you would go to the artifacts and relics section of the Dungeon Master's Guide. Now, I could be wrong, but most of these have major benevolent powers. I don't think these have too many malign powers, but the gods are fickle. You know, if you get above your raisins, you might find that you have like horrible halitosis or something like that. But you as an individual DM will have to go through and see what each of these 32 teeth gives you. And I don't remember statting all of these up myself. Yes, Gary statted them up for TOBN, but I don't remember off the top of my head what they do.
In the description, it just lists it as blank. You fill it in as you wish.
Right, but there are tables. There are power tables. If you look down, you have major benign powers. So
Yeah.
if you look like tooth number 1 has 1 from chart 1. So it has a minor benign power, tooth number 1, and you would pick. Or you could roll it, if you wanted to assign a random number.
Yeah, so it goes A to Z, so that's 26 options, and then A through to X, so that's
24.
Around. So it's 24, so that's 50 different options.
So you use percentile dice for it.
Yeah. So for example, roll percentile dice.
All right. I got a 99.
Okay, so that would be zombie animation once a week. As an example for the first tooth and so on. Anyway, so that's the Band of Pilgrims. Now, that's the 6 hexes just immediately around this starter town. Okay, without considering, and then you'd go through and you'd roll up the 12 around it as well. Now, my view is that when you're dealing with mundane monsters, what you do is you go through and when you're going through the hexes, you have a wandering monster table, and it could be the monsters from anywhere in the surrounding hexes. But if your player group wipes out that particular band of monsters or drives them off, then there's also a chance for a friendly or neutral encounter. You just get some wandering traders or a woodsman out there cutting lumber, that sort of thing. So the more monsters you drive off, the more likely you are to get a friendly encounter. But then once each season, I would give like a 1 in 6 chance every 3 months or something that a new monster moves into the area. In this way, really you could treat the area as like a 1st to 9th level version of building your stronghold and clearing the surrounding hexes of monsters, because that process is going to take you quite some time to go through and clear out all those hexes for 5 miles around or something, because 5 miles is going to be a lot of hexes. Yeah. And by the time you've cleared out 3 or 4, another monster has moved in, or another band of nomads or whatever. And those guys you're going to have to either defeat or ally with you or something like that. You're going to it'd be quite continuous. And with all the treasure that the various groups have and all the experience points that you can get from defeating them, if they're genuine monsters as well as men, that's going to be enough to help you level up. So you could have your entire campaign just within a few hexes, and then there'd just be the occasional trip elsewhere to convert some of your treasure into gold and to train to level up and that sort of thing. So with the hex generation, now, just as we've done this twice before on the show, rolling things up, and we come up with results that we would never choose. There is no way I would choose to have like this two bands of nomads, one of them settled, and a band of pilgrims carrying artifact, all within a mile of the village. I'd never choose that. But if you roll it up, you go, well, okay, well, what the hell? When you roll it up, you come up with a little band of pilgrims that has an artifact, but you also come up with a band of hundreds of nomads that have not really any fantastic treasure. They have a bit of gold in that, but it's not going to be anything fantastic. You come up with things and you have to try to make sense of them. Okay, what are they doing here? Is it just pure chance that they're passing through? Is the starter village actually a waypoint on the Silk Road or some similar trade route? And that's why they're around here, because there actually are ponds here. They can actually get water here for their hundreds of horses. Is this little village actually a holy place? But it's a holy place, it could be surrounded by mountains. This could be up on a high plateau somewhere. And that's why there's hardly anybody here. But it's a holy place, and they're coming to deposit the artifacts here. Are these nomads friendly to the religion that's going to deposit this artifact here? Or are they hostile? Or are they just going to, they know about it and they want to grab it? Or whatever. There's lots of ways that you could try to tie all this together. Or you could just say it's just random, they just happen to be there. that's up to you as DM. But by rolling the dice, and then trying to tack it together with a bit of common sense, imagination, and a bit of plagiarism, you can maybe come up with something interesting.
Yep. And it goes back to what we've always said. The dice are always right. And you can go like the old white ninja meme and stand there next to your dungeon master's guide, poking it with a stick, going, "Come on, do something." And hope someday that when you're creating a dungeon, or you're going through treasure types from your module or whatever, you'll hit on something this cool. Or you can actively be developing your maps, your campaign worlds, whether you're doing it from scratch as Kyle and I did, or populating the world of Greyhawk, or of Forgotten Realms, or wherever. If you've got a hex map and you've got a big expanse of nothing between Verbobonk and the city of Greyhawk, it's not just an empty howling wilderness, guys. There's farms, there's towns, there's I put in my city of Greyhawk, using what we did with Kyle tonight, in the Aber Alls, which is a mountainous desert region to the east of Greyhawk. There is a fantastic city that I had so much fun one night creating, because guess what? It's desert nomads, but they're in lair. So, and it's in the mountains. So I figure, it's the they've got like what is it? The Ansazi Indians, they've got the cliff dwellings in this craggy valley, and they'll watch as the adventurers go by. Are they friendly? Are they hostile, or whatever? And you can get all of these options, regardless of whether you're using a pre-generated campaign world or you're creating something from scratch, if you'll just grab it and use it and let the dice tell a story that you weren't expecting. When Kyle and I sat down tonight, in no way did he and I kind of, do hand signals or gestures like that we were going to have not just a powerful magic item, but an artifact. Not just an artifact, but an artifact that I have seen the actual handwritten notes by Gary Gygax on. This is the kind of stuff that hides just inside your Dungeon Master's Guide. Take advantage of it, dudes. Take advantage of it.
Yeah, and that's even, we didn't use all the features, because you know what we forgot to do? Roll up each space for the possibility of inhabitation.
Yeah.
We forgot to do that. So 1 to 3, there's a single dwelling. 4 to 5, there's a thorp, hamlet, village, town, city, castle, and ruins. Village, city, shrine, or tomb. If there is a ruined village, city, shrine, or tomb, that might explain why there's artifacts and there's all these guys coming around.
A good place to be. You want to blitz through at least the 6 around?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Okay, so there's basically, yeah, it's D100, and 17 to 100 is uninhabited.
All right, so
uninhabited by
uninhabited.
So north one.
Uninhabited.
Yep.
Uninhabited. Oh, that's a 9.
9. So a 9 is a village. So there's another village there in the marshy bit.
Yep.
Next to the pond, there's a village.
And if you look, it will give you a population count on it and everything, just right across the illustration from it.
Yeah. So the village is 600 to 900 people. So it's actually a larger village than our starter village.
All right. So D4 plus 5. That's an 800-person village in the swamp. I'm seeing like a villager or so on stilts.
Yeah. Village on stilts. Maybe Farming the hippopotami.
Could be.
Farming hippos.
And there's nothing in the other two.
The other two. Okay. All right, let's go for the further out ones then.
All right. Same. We got 12 of these, right?
Yep.
Number 1. Nothing. Number 2. Nope. 3. Yes, we have a 2.
Okay, so a 2 is a single dwelling with 1 to 12 people.
There are 12 people. Could be a traveler's inn.
Well, a traveler's inn, or it's a dwelling. It's in the forest, so maybe they're
Lumberjacks, yeah. And that's
traveler's inn. Whatever you want, you can just decide.
okay.
And then next one.
Again, we got a 10 this time.
Okay.
If we just put a major city there.
Town. A city's 11.
So 1,500 to 6,500 person town.
Yep.
Yeah, district capital over there.
Yep.
Next. Nothing. How many is that? Is that 5 or 6?
So that's 5. It was nothing, and then next one is yep. So keep going.
Nope. Nope.
Again, nope.
4.
4 is a thorp of 20 to 80 people.
So that's 2d4 times 10. So we have 20 people.
Yep.
And a couple more, yeah.
Yeah, a couple more. There's 3 more. The hex with them. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. Yep, a couple more.
17.
17, I believe, is ruins. Yeah. Oh no, 17 is uninhabited. Just 15 and 16.
Oh, okay, just all right.
Yeah.
And then nothing.
Nothing, and 2 more.
One more. Nothing. And it's 18, so nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Oh, okay, we're a bit unlucky, but yeah, we got a town, a village, a thorp, and a dwelling. So there's some people living around, and of course we'd have to roll for the random monsters in the outer 12. But altogether, not counting the starter village, you will then have 18 hexes, because you've got 6 hexes within 1 mile, and then another 12 at 2 miles, and so on. So with 18 hexes detailed, you'd have enough for quite a bit of adventure, I think, unless the players just went off in one direction.
Yeah.
But if they just go off, have an adventure, come back, go off, explore, boom, boom, If so, what you could do as DM is tell them, that their explicit thing, they've been hired by the village to scout around the surrounding areas and see what's going and eliminate any threats, whether eliminating by fighting them or bribing them or negotiating with them or whatever, but to deal with any threats around to the village. The village might be feeling a bit nervous with hundreds of people there. Hundreds of people nearby. So, yeah.
And that's it, guys. That's it. We just, you know what? If you're struggling, if you're stuck before next week or this weekend's game, or whenever your game is happening and you're watching this video, take this and run with it. You have mine and Kyle's permission. You have, we just created a whole adventuring zone for you.
Yep. So, yeah, again, there's that link. I'll post it. It'll come up through Bill's, in Bill's name, but I'll post the link.
In Bill's name, post the link. Amen.
and it's in the description of the video as well.
Yes.
That's the article describing how we do it. Yeah, and then, like I said, tack it together with imagination and plagiarism, and you should be good.
Exactly. So there you go, guys. It's that simple. Don't let your world just be bland, or worse than bland, in my opinion, is game day. Okay, you ride for a day, nothing. You don't encounter anything. You don't encounter.
Well, I find, like, the thing is that my imagination by itself, it tends to be moderate. You kind of default, without anyone telling you to the old challenge ratings kind of thing of, I'll give them an encounter, but not too hard, but also not too easy. And the treasure, there should be enough treasure to help them level up, but like not so much that they don't know what to do with it, and not so little that they've got enough experience points to level up, but they can't afford to. And yeah, it tends to be kind of moderate and mediocre. Whereas if you let things roll up, then you just get this extreme stuff, and
right.
It's more interesting that way.
Well, be that as it may, folks, I hope everyone enjoyed the live stream tonight. I love doing this kind of thing, and Kyle, of course, does a crack job of it. Now, if the whole group is down for AD&D tomorrow night, we'll be back doing that. If not, maybe an open bar stream or something like that. Friday night, we'll be back with, of course, some Gamma World, a little preamble ramble, and then some Gamma World. But I will tell you guys, Monday, we are having Mail Call Monday. I've got something I want to show you guys on Monday night that I got in the mail. Tuesday, we'll be back to normal schedule, playing AD&D. Wednesday, Kyle, you'll be back, and we'll find some kind of trouble to get into. And then Thursday, guys, set it on your calendars, Errol Otis. I will be talking to Errol Otis live. The man himself, Errol Otis, will be here. Don't miss it, and don't come to me on Friday morning saying, when can you get Errol back? Because I don't know. So if you miss it, you missed it. You'll be able to rewatch it, but you won't get that live experience where you can do fun stuff like ask him questions and talk about your favorite art that he did and super chat me. Discuss other things.
Jimmy says you two should do a randomly generated dungeon and see what hilarity ensues. Yeah, let's do that.
Jimmy just created next week's show. Thank you very much, Jimmy.
I like that because, if you roll right, you can find me as Modius on the first level of the dungeon.
Yes. Yes. So until then, guys, keep your dice and your Dungeon Master's Guide handy. Peace, everyone. I love you all. Thank you all for being here today. And again, if you haven't subscribed, please do click on the subscribe button and the bell icon for notifications so you know about all the cool stuff that Kyle and I and other folks get up to here on the show. Peace out, everybody, and we will see you next time. Good night, Kyle.
Good night.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around. Some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle way off course? Naked as a toad all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me
to the show. I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the show.